Countdown.
I pressed it. I don't know why it's not.
That one, the bottom one. Welcome to the Caffeinated Couple Podcast with your hosts, Mark and Lisa. No Lisa today.
What do you having?
Here.
I'm gonna have a double shot espresso. You want a latte? All right, let's get caffeinated.
I don't know what happened there. Welcome, everybody. It is Saturday. Is it Saturday? Saturday. So here I am in the kitchen.
I have a question. I guess nobody commented yet. They're just going to come up, right?
I hope so.
Okay. Sorry. Continue.
You want to wait for a comment to make sure it's working?
This is fine.
Someone please comment so Lisa knows everything's good. Lisa's in rough shape today. Lisa was up late last night. Actually, she was just up all night doing an all-nighter.
Tell them what I was doing. Yeah, whatever.
She was cleaning. Because she's so busy in the day, she couldn't do it in the day. If you cleaned in the day, you'd sleep at night.
I had a nap in the afternoon, and that just messed up my entire time schedule.
Okay,
There's
so
no comments.
you have got it going, right?
Oh. Yeah. Oh, well.
All right, so we are making keto wraps. The reason I call them keto wraps because they're very low in carbs. So I made these earlier. So we are going to make now, the recipe I'm going to make is going to make 6 of these wraps. They are very easy, as you're going to find out. They're very quick, and you
Robert
can.
would like to know if low carb means tasteless.
No, does not mean that. These are very tasty. Actually, I prefer these over any other wrap I've had. So obviously the ones you buy at the store, those things taste a little bit processed anyways. But these are great. They freeze really well, and they are pliable. You can roll them. You can use these as a naan or nan, whatever you want to call it. So you can do many things with these. You could even toast them a little bit and use them as a cracker. I've never toasted them to the point where they're nacho.
I know.
So you can toast these up afterwards. So basically, these were cooked about an hour ago. They're already in plastic, and they're ready to go in a freezer. So fantastic.
Then if you want, when you pull it out, it thaws very quickly because they're very thin. And
Yeah.
you just make it up as
And
you wrap.
each one is about just over 100 calories. So very, very good on the calorie count. So I'm going to throw them over there. So we'll just give a few people a second to get in. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. It's kind of funny outside. Now, for 2 or 3 days now, I've two full days now, keto for me. And I went full on, cut the carbs right out. I've been doing my intermittent fasting up until 2 o'clock each day. And I've been doing a 5-kilometer run in that fasting period. So I did have 2 eggs and 2.5 slices of bacon today, and it was yummy. But I think about half an hour ago I was feeling hungry again because my body has still not made the adjustment. And you go through a crappy stage for a week when you switch over. So I'm going to go through that right now. I'm going through that stage. So, but we got cooking show. So we'll get started. So first off, we're going to go, I'll quickly run through the ingredients before I throw them in the bowl. We are going to be using coconut flour for our base. So it's coconut flour. I'm not sure if we have used almond flour. We haven't. I thought we had, but we're going to be making this with coconut flour, psyllium husk powder. The psyllium husk powder is going to basically be our fiber. It's going to add a bit of texture, a little bit of flavor. We're going to use xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is going to be basically our agent to kind of hold everything together. Baking powder is going to lighten up our... I guess going to lighten up our...
Robert P... I don't know how to say your last name. I'm sorry, Shatsy.
Robert's good.
He says he likes gluten.
Gluten?
Mm.
Well, you have to add some gluten. A pinch of salt, and basically we're going to be using water, some yogurt, and olive oil. And that's pretty much it. And everything is basically going to get mixed together. So we'll get started. So I have 3/4 of a cup of my coconut flour. That's going to go in here like so. Then we are going to add our...
Robert Acton says...
psyllium husk.
Tell Mark I like his kitchen. Who did it? It's my kitchen.
Oh.
I'm letting him use it.
Don't get me started. I'm still waiting for my metal detector.
He's not getting one.
We're going to add our xanthan gum. Spelt with an X. It's a tricky word. For me, it's a very tricky word. And we're going to add our baking powder. And we are going to add our pinch of salt. And folks, that is the dry ingredients. That's simple. I'm just going to give it a little stir. This will make 6 wraps. We usually make a double batch of this. So I'm just going to quickly mix all these together. And that's simple as that. So, now for our yogurt. We need our little yogurt spoon because we need a 1/4 cup of yogurts. Okay, very easy to measure. Just you could probably guess this, but as you can hear, we have our oven is heated to 365. So we're going to add this yogurt, full fat yogurt. Remember, this is a keto recipe, so we want to keep it high fat. Because basically in keto, your body is burning fat. All right, then we need 1 cup of hot water. We have our hot water tap, so I'm going to quickly fill up my 1 cup. One hot cup of water goes in there. And then we need some oil. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of oil. Now it says you could use coconut oil, but we've already got enough coconut. You will taste the coconut in the wrap. So we're going to mix these ingredients. Then we're basically going to be taking our wet ingredients and pouring them into our dry ingredients. And then you can actually just use a spatula just to mix this up. You could use your hand, but basically this is going to make a dough. You can certainly smell the coconut from the flour. And the thing is, there's a lot of recipes out there that, are keto substituting a lot of other breads. This is one for sure that I would rather have this over one of the... If someone said, listen, the one in the store is okay now, you can eat it, there's no carbs in it, I would still prefer this one. So there's our dough mixed up. Now we've got that mixed like that. We're basically going to take our hand in here and we're going to make a ball of dough. Now this dough is about 366 grams. We could take, we could measure this out. I did earlier. So there you go. We've made a ball of dough. So right now we want to break these down. Actually, maybe I will use the scale. I'll make some balls out of it. We'll use the scale. Just because we got lots of time. So, knowing that we want 6, and we've got 666 grams total here, we're going to be making 60-gram balls of dough. So there's one. Again, guys, I'm doing this to show you guys how easy it is. These are pretty much bang on every time. So it goes to show you can just kind of guess. There you go. So just over. So I'm just going to put these into a ball and put them back in my bowl because I don't want them to dry out. Now this process goes quick. You'll see by the time we're done how fast it takes to make these. So I'm just putting these back in.
Hi, Paula.
And we're gonna just gonna throw a towel over top.
Barely awake.
We're gonna throw a towel over so they don't dry out. All right, so there we go, evenly worked out there. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna recycle my parchment paper. We're going to take one of these dough balls. Just going to work it again. Now it is a bit crumbly. You've got to be somewhat careful with it. I'm going to basically place it down like that. I'm going to take another piece over top. And this is probably the most trickiest part of the whole thing. I'm going to use this roller. You could use a rolling pin, but this is the first thing I found, and I used it on the other ones. So basically, you want to get these very thin. They're going to come out to about 8 inches in diameter. Just keep going around with this rolling pin. And don't worry if it's not 100%, because basically you're going to use it as a wrap, and when you wrap something, it's not going to be round anyways. It's going to take on all kinds of shapes.
There's a rolling pin in the cupboard if you want to use it.
So I'm just gonna use this here.
Want the rolling pin?
I'm all right.
In the cupboard.
Now you want them thin. Now once you've done that, we're basically gonna peel this off somehow. And we're going to take that, we're going to put it on a tray. And we're basically just going to throw this right in the oven. I'm going to put it on the bottom. And we're just going to keep an eye on that. It takes about maybe 5 or 6 minutes. It's going to start to crisp a little bit on the outside. Then we're going to flip it over to dry out the other side, and then it is done. So we're going to move on to the next one. I mean, you could easily find if you don't want to go like low carb, you can definitely find a recipe to make something similar. That would be like a regular wrap. This initially was a naan bread recipe, and I think they were made thicker. Lisa made it, and she rolled them too thin according to the recipe, but then we discovered that they made a really good wrap. So again, this wasn't a wrap recipe to begin with. It was a naan bread. But again, you can use this for a there's no rules out there saying that you can't have a thin piece of naan bread. And again, this you just get better. I'm finding I'm doing a better job maybe this time around. You kind of get a shape like Australia. That's okay. And you get used to the size you want, so if you go too thin, it is a little bit hard to peel off. So we're basically, and the good thing about doing this, the way we're doing this live, is you're seeing us deal with all the situations that come along. And there's a nice thin one. And again, we're going to put this right onto a tray, and I have 3 shelves in the oven. We're going to throw this one right in. And we're going to go to another one. So again, you could, if you want to prep some of these for a week, you could just easily have doubled this recipe and even made a batch and then just kept going after, make another batch. You could put 2 dozen of these in your freezer. And these are great with anything. You can avocado, you can put your salmon, you can put egg. I mean, it's a wrap, right? You can do whatever you want with it after this. And you can use it you could put it back in the oven and use it as a chip.
And to make it vegan, you would just need to switch out the yogurts.
Exactly. So you're so close already for it to be a vegan wrap. You just got to find your substitute. And what would a substitute be for, you just get a vegan yogurt? So there you go, that's simple. Just a matter of picking something else off the shelf. And you, just like that, you have a vegan wrap. But not only do you have a keto wrap or do you have a vegan wrap, you have a healthy, very healthy wrap. I mean, this is all good stuff. Got to remember to stop if you enjoy rolling. This one got maybe rolled a little thin on the edges, but it depends on the temperature too. But again, this is only my second time myself making this recipe. I made a batch earlier, so don't think to yourself, oh yeah, that's tricky, and he's probably made tons of these. This is the second batch.
Check the other one.
So we're going to have a look at our first one that we put in. And again, we've already got, this can still use a little longer. So we're going to just keep rolling these out now. So, yeah. So as we roll, we can chat. Was it Pictionary yesterday? I'd like to thank everyone who joined us yesterday playing Pictionary. We had so much fun. It was a blast. It was a blast. It was definitely... I shared the video with a group that uses the same software as I use, and they thought it was such a great idea. I think some of them might try it, but it was a lot of fun. Even though the guys lost. Hopefully they're practicing. So tomorrow we're going to play Pictionary. It's Sunday afternoon. We're going to play Pictionary again. And on Monday, I am going to do a bit of a tutorial on a free free app you can get on your phone called Snapseed. And I am going to offer people to send me in a photo that they have, and I will edit it live, and we will go through the settings, and I will give tips. We can all do it together, and it will be a fun little project. So if you've got a phone, you can download Snapseed, and we will practice with that app. We can do some HDR images. We can do a whole bunch of stuff, but it just adds a little pop to your photographs. And again, don't worry about the shape, guys.
Check your bread.
I gotta check my bread.
Leave the paper on top of that one until you're ready to bake.
So we can see this one is crisping up. We're gonna flip it over. So basically at this stage, we want to flip it.
You gotta be careful.
I'm just going to put it over here because I'm going to use my other hand. Basically, you're just going to flip them. That's another little tricky spot, but there you go. That one's back in. That one needs a little longer. So we do have to flip them over. I'm going to take this one and just set it aside.
Yeah, pretty much, Robert. The same rolling method would work with a standard flour wrap as well.
Yeah, you could use a bigger rolling pin too. I'm just using that, and it probably, you might get better results with a larger rolling pin. Like I said, this is my first time today making these, so you're seeing a beginner. I had no idea what was going in it until this afternoon, until I went through the ingredients. So I was quite happy with the first batch. Like I said, the trick is rolling these out. And again, it doesn't really matter. But you get good at directing the path of the dough. So yeah, so tomorrow Pictionary, and then I guess it would be Monday. We're gonna do the Snapseed phone picture editing tutorial live. Because I figured out how to do that, so I'll give it a go. I think that would be probably the best bang for our buck, doing something like that for a tutorial, because I know a lot of people message me on, you know, people say to me all the time, oh, what kind of camera do you have? I want to get a DSLR camera so I can take better pictures. And I always tell people, unless you can take a really good picture on your phone, you don't need a DSLR. So I'll help you guys get an awesome picture on your phone. We'll do a few tips next week and stuff like that. So there we go. There's our next one. I'm going to just put that over here as well. Have a look at our bottom one. And there we go. We have our first wrap out of the oven. A little brown on the corners. We're going to put that on a rack just so it can cool. And then just like that, I'm actually going to take the top one down to the bottom shelf. I am going to get the next one ready to go on, because we want to move along pretty quick. Where's my glove? That one's in, and I was just thinking to myself.
Yes, parchment paper.
Oh, this one is good. Just making sure that it's not stuck. And you could see how easy that came off the parchment paper when we flipped it. Now this is good for a few more uses, because we're not really, it's not like we're baking a loaf of bread on it. It's not getting that, it's not in there for that long of a time.
Benny.
So we got one more. So today we have a total of 12 wraps that we've made. So we're
You usually eat about 2 of them and you're good to go.
yeah, for dinner. Yeah, Lisa was up late last night, and I had no idea what she was doing. And then she said to me she was downstairs cleaning the basement. And I didn't believe her until I went down there, and she actually was. She actually did. I think we're all suffering from tiredness or anxiety. And what's the other one? What's one where you can't sleep? Insomnia. So I did sleep pretty good last night.
Yeah, he had the whole entire bed.
All right. I'm finding with the parchment paper being in the oven and using it again, it's not sticking as much because it's probably drier. So it's kind of helping me out.
Do you want to check your other ones?
So I have got them all rolled now. And now it's just a matter of sitting back. And we're going to flip this one, I think. We can flip this one.
Two hands.
If I was pro, I could probably do one hand, but you got to hold that parchment down. So there you go.
Put the other one in the middle. One in the
I don't
middle.
think it's ready yet. Yeah, maybe we can flip this. You just got to remember not to grab that pan with your bare hands. Guys, these are simple. Simple. And delicious. They're not like a cardboard solution to having a wrap. And then while you're waiting, you can have a Heineken Zero. Because that's the only beer I have in the house. Actually, it's not even a Christmas. This is probably a little bit old, but I'm going to crack a beer. Because I can't find an opener.
Drawer.
So you can have a beer while you're making your wraps. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to have a beer. I'm going to dump it. Because it has been sitting around a while and it's got 17 grams of carbohydrates in it. I just realized as I cracked it open. So I'm not going to drink it. I'm just going to get rid of it. Unless Lisa wants it. So that's discipline right there. I didn't want that 17 grams of carbs going in right now. I didn't want to spike my sugar because I want to get my body eating the fat.
Why did you just throw that?
It was a little crumb
And you threw it?
in the sink. That's a chef tip.
No.
What was I supposed to do with it?
Put it in your bowl, and then when
Oh,
you
no,
finish
no.
cleaning up, you can dump it.
No. So we're coming along really well. I'm not sure what we're having for dinner tonight. We could have a wrap with some avocado, maybe a soup. We might have a soup, maybe a red pepper soup and a wrap or something. We just make something up. I think the key to, I think if you spend too much time thinking about food, you end up eating too much food. I think you're best just to get something in you, get full, and so
maybe I'll make the spinach
spinach.
feta turnovers. Oh, you can't have that.
See, this is the problem with keto. Now, this is where everybody falls off the rails. Because there's so many, like we've been making bread, and
I can have them.
you can have it.
Let's see the steam coming off of that.
And I'll save the parchment paper, because that'll come in handy. I may even keep losing my glove. So we've almost got them all in. We've got one more to go in.
That top one.
Top one could be
Flip.
flipped. A little bit of steam coming off them. Give that a little bit longer. So we have one more wrap to go. That's how fast it is. And we started this We started right at 3 o'clock. I did have all my ingredients ready, though there's not a lot of ingredients, and definitely making these again, it takes no time to put the ingredients together. Absolutely no time. So we're almost at half an hour, and we have 6 wraps. So it's pretty fast. Cooked. Done. So for those out there that are looking for an alternative, fantastic idea.
Free. I can't remember who was asking. I think it was Janet.
What's that?
Janet Lang was asking for gluten-free recipes. She's not on right now though.
Oh. Well, anyone can look at this later. It's it'll stay up. But if someone out there is looking to drop some weight, keto is absolutely phenomenal for it, and you actually feel better. Like, that's why I've gone back right now. I mean, I feel much better. I feel mentally better. I feel physically better when I've been eating on a keto diet. I did it for almost a whole year at one point. I did 6 months, then a year, then 6 months. But it's tough. You got to be disciplined. It's so easy to fall off the rails. Let's have another look. We'll get that last one in. Oh, this needs a little longer. So we can have a look at these. I mean, you can see how they're going to roll up really nice.
They have to cool, then they'll roll a little bit.
Yeah, they roll better. They're great in the freezer. There's 6 right here, so you put that pack in. You take them out one by one out of your pack, and they thaw in no time.
By the time you get your filling, you can
And I think we had quite a batch in there for a while. We were pulling them out on a. The other things that we do make are keto bagels that are very good as well. Very filling. Each bagel is about 460 calories. So you just need one of those really with something on it, like a BLT or whatever you want on bagel, and you pretty much got a meal. They're very filling. And also we do a keto pizza dough, which is pretty neat too. We've done 2 of them, right? Oh, the cauliflower one we weren't a fan of. Did you like cauliflower? Maybe we'll make cauliflower. We had cauliflower rice last night and vegetables. And the trick with keto is adding the fat to your meal, because if you're having a stir fry and you have cauliflower rice, that one's done. And you're having cauliflower rice, at that point there's not a lot of fat in your meal. So last night I added 3 tablespoons of avocado oil to my meal, which jacked up the fat content really quick. I had a piece of cheese with it, which also helped with my protein. There we go, there's another one.
the top one down.
That simple. Now, I will be honest, it's not like a slice of sourdough toasted bread with butter on top, but I noticed when I was eating the breads, it affected my stomach a lot more. Like, I don't usually, when I do keto, my stomach is like, it's non-existent. I never have a stomach ache. I never have any problems with my stomach, my digestive system at all on a keto diet. The minute I start eating carbs, especially breads, things go all crazy. I start feeling, weird feelings and stuff like that. So that's another reason why I decided to go back to the keto diet, because I just wanted to forget about it and get back to feeling great. So, but it's good for me to be able to tell people what it's like, because you can read all you want, but unless you've talked to somebody who actually does it and has experienced it, then you get that real insight to it. But it is tricky. I'm able to drink a glass of wine the odd time, and it doesn't affect me. Drinking a whole bottle, the next day you feel kind of crappy. But
Shane says my stomach is the same.
what, when they keto, they're yeah, and I guess everyone's different. I guess everyone's different. I'm certainly no doctor. But I do know, after doing it enough times, experimenting on myself, and that's why I'm glad I went on and off it, because when I went off the keto back to the regular diet, I really discovered the benefits. Otherwise, you wouldn't know, right? You enjoy the benefits to the point where you prolong the carb diet to the point where I had enough. Keto Wrap Shuffle, right there. So we'll pull these two out of the oven, and then we'll call it a day, I think, from the kitchen. Then we can see what they look like, but you can see the shapes. Now this guy here, obviously, not perfectly round, but when you make your wrap, you've definitely got enough base there, and it will roll up. You can fold her in, but they're a little crunchy. They're crunchy, but they're soft. They're just perfect for making.
Once they cool and you bag them, they go.
Exactly. So they cool very fast. So after the show, I'll cut a little bit of parchment paper to separate them, and I will put them in a Ziploc bag, a recycled Ziploc bag, and then they will. One pack will go in the freezer. I might keep a couple out for tonight. And the dogs are getting anxious because they haven't had their walk yet.
Well, there's a small child going up and down the sidewalk.
A small child outside?
In one of those little car things.
What was that movie? Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Remember they went around and rounded up all the kids that were outside in the little horse-drawn cart with the little cage, and they took the kids away. And that's what they went in the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. They went and rescued the kids. That's what they should do. They should round up these kids. There should be no kids outside. Now you can put these on top of each other coming out of the rack once they cool. What am I doing? Just got one more. So there you have it. There's an easy recipe. I will share the recipe in the link for your gluten-free, low-carb keto wraps. If you want them a little bit thicker, you can. You could make them a little bit thicker. You'd have to cook them a little longer. So yeah, so that's a wrap. Get it? That's a wrap. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock for Pictionary, and don't forget, on Monday we're going to do a tutorial on how to edit pictures on your phone with Snapseed. So ahead of time, download Snapseed, and we will do it together at 4 o'clock on Monday. See ya!